God, I'm
Oh, Mary, long day or not enough sleep or?
both, but actually I just got out of a conference that was supposed to go for another 2 hours and they ended 2 hours early, which was not a second too early. It was mind numbing. Started at 5:30 this morning and it's the
Oh,
third
goodness.
day of this training on, I can't even tell you what it was about. That's how bad it was.
Well, there must be some sign that you did over and over again that you.
Well, the last 2 days I've done with the same team, and he called me afterward. He's like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna die." He goes, "I just wanted to apologize for like being complete cardboard. I felt like a complete and utter robot by the end. It was just like
Wow.
in and out, in and out. But yeah, it was a new hire training, which was about how to use the computer, but in ways that I've never heard and could not even begin to repeat. Docker. Have you ever heard Docker? Have you ever heard? I mean, like some of this stuff, it was just so much finger spelling that I felt for the deaf person. I'm sure their eyes were just like, burned.
What? Like, yeah. If
But-
Mary has to spell Docker and doesn't know what it is.
Oh God.
Yeah, no, I have no, like, and this is from 5:30 this morning. At
Yeah.
one point, and plus the presenters from East India, so the accent was
Right, to pick up.
quite
The-
strong.
Wow.
And I think the second day with the same person, but no idea. Male East Indian voice could be,
Oh.
with the same name that he said, "Oh yeah, it's a pretty common name," like whatever. Anyway, how's everybody else?
Baby Cobra. Baby Cobra.
Baby Cobra. Yeah, I went to see Ali Wong last night.
Who was it?
Oh my God, it was so funny. And we found out that she had planned to film her next Netflix special in the Warner Theater on her last night here, or maybe her last 2 nights. So she's here tonight and tomorrow. And she said that for some reason the film crew or blah 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 didn't work out. So at the end of the show, she said, "I've just released some extra tickets that we had in the audience, for where the cameras would go because we're not able to film it here." But yeah, it is a very well-oiled show. There was a couple of times where it felt like even a little too well-oiled, like she would say like, thanks to like a smattering of applause. Like, I think like a line that she thought that she would get a lot of applause to, like it was that automated.
Yeah.
But she is so, you've all seen her Netflix specials.
I saw one.
Yeah. The first one when she was pregnant.
Yeah.
She's
comedian.
Yeah.
What did she touch on? What was her?
Oh, it was definitely her raunchiest show yet, which is saying something because her first 2 shows are raunchy. So, she's got 2 kids. So you'd think she'd do something about like being a parent. Nope, nothing. It was all about sex with her husband, a lot about blowjobs. I know exactly what.
Welcome back, Chris.
Yeah, welcome back, Chris.
I just gonna mute this for now.
Yeah.
Pretend like you guys are talking about chocolate chip cookies or something.
Why men should be grateful to have sex with somebody who makes more money than they do.
Okay. Yeah.
And wanting to have an affair, not having had an affair, but what she's thinking about, why she would want to have an affair, who it would be with, what that would look like in a lot of explicit detail. And she kind of like complains and makes fun of her husband all the time, right? Of him being whatever he's being.
It's a tough job.
Yeah, she portrays him as kind
Being
of
a
a
husband.
like a do-gooder,
Speaking.
and she's like well, she is. I mean, she's just like flying
She's
her
the
own
bad
freak
girl.
flag. She is
Yeah.
flying a freak flag, I tell you, out all over the place. So, and
So
she's so funny with she's physical, the way she walks on the stage.
Yeah.
I had thought that was because she was pregnant, right? That she had that kind of walk, but she walks exactly the same. She's not pregnant, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I-
she does that very deliberate, slow, like kind of,
Yeah.
like kind of duck walk.
Yeah, she does. She
Christian
kinda-
Waddle, definitely. I mean, I watched the one where she's, I don't know, quite
Yeah.
pregnant, and
Yeah.
she has the
And she had on a very similar outfit. She had on a
Animal
super
print.
skin tight animal print mini skirt.
Uh-huh.
That is so short, you're almost like, okay, don't bend over any further there. Because
Well, in the one that I saw, she, grabs it and it's like everybody sees the striped underwear and anything
yeah,
else.
exactly. Yeah,
depending on
she's
how
very
close they
funny.
are,
We
but-
didn't see any underpants, but she did have one
she
whole
wasn't wearing any.
No, one
Yeah.
whole shtick was about if she actually did have an affair with somebody, how they'd have to give her like a week's notice because all of her underwear is in such bad shape because she hasn't been screwing anybody except her husband for the past 10 years, that she would need like some advance notice to go out to Target and get whatever
New
is the
lingerie.
Target lingerie line.
That's
I
right.
can't remember the name of it. I'd
Yeah.
have to like buy some new Target lingerie line to replace.
Funny. I know exactly what you're talking about, and I
Excuse
cannot for
me?
the life of me remember what it's called. But it's been a long time since I've looked at anything.
That's funny. But that's her
At one
board.
point, she
I like that.
compared her underwear to the liner in the bottom of a bird cage. I mean, every single thing, we were just like dying laughing.
Yeah.
I was there with my friend who is herself 6 months pregnant, but both of us, she's 15 years younger than me, but we both started out our careers doing sex education and HIV work and that kind of stuff. So we're both pretty comfortable with that kind of talk, and we were just dying. I mean, I could almost not breathe at some points. We were laughing so hard.
That's
It was so
great.
good.
That
That's
feels
great.
so good.
Yeah.
I love that. It's
Yeah.
just such a good feeling when you.
Yeah, and then we stood
laugh.
outside for like more than half an hour on the sidewalk, like, and then she said this, and then she said that, and then she said that,
Was it a
I
pretty
cannot
packed
wait to see
house?
It was yeah, it was the Warner Theater, which isn't a huge venue to begin with. But yeah, pretty much every seat was full. It was a sold out show. She actually had started she booked with 3 nights and then added 2 more because of
Wow.
Demand.
Yeah.
Good,
So
yeah.
I got a ticket the day that she announced the other 2 shows. So we were I think we were in like row L or something in the,
Wow.
we were definitely very close. Like was not for Dave Chappelle. We were like up in the nosebleed section. So
Yeah.
I have
Oh my
not
God.
been to a
I wanna
comedy
see
show.
another
in
Dave.
ages.
I want to see another Dave special.
yeah. You haven't been to a comedy show in a while,
No.
Chris?
Yeah, no, me either.
I tend to spend money on music concerts more so. I don't know. I guess if if you're going to see a comedian that that's good,
Mm-hmm.
which I guess I do with music too. It's somebody I want to see, but I
Right.
just don't follow a lot of comedians. So I'm like, I know the names, but I don't know I've never heard of her, to be honest. But I mean, I've seen a few of Dave Chappelle's. I'm like, well, he's pretty good
Yeah. Yeah. He's
and
funny.
pointed. Yeah.
You could, I'm sure there's a couple of like some of her stuff on YouTube that you could watch really quick just to get an idea.
Yeah. I just
Well, you
put her
guys
name
have
in there
you
for
have
later.
Netflix, right?
Yeah,
Chris?
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So both of
Netflix
her specials are on Netflix.
Yeah, Baby
Um,
Cobra is the one that I was referencing when I yelled.
Is the
Baby
first one.
Oh.
Yeah.
I feel like the one I just watched was that I haven't watched the second one, was that woman from Australia. Nanette was her. I can't think of
Oh
her.
yeah, I saw
Yeah.
the Hannah Gadsby. I
Yeah.
saw Douglas, her second show I saw
Mhm.
live before it was filmed as a special.
Yeah.
And
she was
which is
funny.
the one where she comes out as with Asperger's.
Mhm.
So
I'll
in
have to
her
watch that
second,
one.
yeah, the second one, have you seen Douglas, Dana?
Yeah, I watched it.
Because
I
it
thought
also
was
has that like
funny.
art history
Yeah.
subtext that
Yeah.
is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, she's
Yeah, I remember
good.
you guys. Yeah, I remember you guys
Um,
talking about that, but I just seen the first one.
Who
I don't know.
else did
Maybe I
I
just
watch
have to be.
recently? Oh, I watched Tig Notaro recently. That was funny. I had insomnia, so I figured if I'm gonna have to stay up late and not sleep, I might as well laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And keep everybody else up.
No. No.
Kate and I are
Yeah.
going to see David Sedaris in
Oh,
middle of September.
I love him so
That'll be
much.
fun.
He's really, really funny.
The really
then-
fun thing about him is a lot of his work is where I used to live. I mean, he was from
Yeah.
Raleigh. And
That's
so
what I was gonna say. That's what's so amazing is that to understand that connection of what he's talking about and
Dorothea Dix
Um,
Hospital and all the
Mm.
the references are kind of like, oh my God. Yeah.
yeah. And we used to go to Emerald Beach when I was in college, and he talks about where they used to have their cottage, and their whole family would go and how fucking crazy they all were.
Yeah, I remember the stories about the cottage. I didn't remember where the location is,
Yeah.
but yeah,
What was
I
it
can
called?
almost
Oh
see
my
that.
God, it's got the funniest name.
It has something like a pirate's
it's a-
name or
It's
a.
a reference to semen.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly what it is, but when you're like, oh fuck.
I feel really awkward.
House.
There's Bull Johns. Now you're talking about
Down
semen.
one layer. Oh,
Oh,
Oh man. Yeah. Oh, that's gonna be great.
yeah.
It must be interesting to hear a comedian or someone talk about specifically an area that you knew. I mean, it's one thing to have them talk about things that you go through or you've seen in your life, but the
Yeah.
physical location,
Right.
that'd
Yeah.
be pretty cool.
Right.
And the
and there
cultural
are references to it.
because the cultural references are nuts. I mean, because he
Yeah.
talks about just like the craziness of Southern people.
I don't think there's going to be a comedian talking about where I grew up.
Oh, I feel like there is.
I grew up in a town of 700 people. Well, I grew up in Detroit, but only until like I was 7 or 8. So I can't.
Yeah, I
there's
feel
something to
like
relate.
I'll have to look up the name of this comedian, but I feel like there's a comedian, Jenny, somebody who grew up in I believe it was a small town in Michigan. And I think her dad
Oh.
was a taxidermist. And so there's
Oh.
like a lot of hilarious stories
Oh,
about
God.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
stuffed raccoons and stuff.
Is
Yeah, I
that-
imagine one small town is very similar to another, especially in the Midwest. Or
Yeah. Yeah. That kind of that small town that's not like Texas or the South, but a
Mhm.
Midwestern small town. I
Yes.
feel like
Yep.
that sounds familiar to you, Dana.
It does. I wish that I could remember who it was, but you're right. Taxidermy does stick out for some reason.
Some good material. Sure.
Oh, yeah. We're going to see Hassan Minaj in November. I got back from Dave Chappelle
Yeah.
and the people I was with said, oh, Ali Wong, I read they just opened up tickets. So I like got home from Dave Chappelle at like midnight and I was like getting tickets for Ali Wong. And then I was like, what other comedians are coming to DC? Why don't I know this? Right. And so I just started Googling and I was like, Hassan Minaj. And then I bought tickets for that too. And I was like,
Yeah.
just go to bed.
I
because
love
I'm too
I
excited
love
here."
listening to him talk about his family.
Yeah,
'Cause- and yeah, he talks about his dad a lot. Anyway, I think
he
it's
does.
funny.
And he's so political. So,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
I'm going with some friends that are quite,
That's gonna be
quite
fun.
political.
Julie Scroggins?
Julie,
No.
Mhm.
are you looking up like Jenny, comedian taxidermist?
I am now.
That narrowed down the list.
And I got a picture of Bo
Yeah,
Derek.
Jenny
I got a
Lawson.
picture of Bo Derek for some reason.
I put Jenny, comedian
I
taxidermist.
have no idea.
Her name is Jenny
Jenny
Lawson.
something, huh?
Jenny Lawson, and it's
Oh, you already
called
got it.
let's pretend this never happened. And
you're sure she's not from the South with a title like that?
I feel like it was. And the subtitle is A Mostly True Memoir.
That's
My
funny.
memory.
Uh,
Yeah. Furiously happy.
yeah,
All right, well, I got a couple things to look at.
yeah. Oh, those books are good. I don't think she ever had like a stand-up show, but yeah. Yeah, Furiously Happy is good too. I haven't read that other one, Broken, but yeah, they're all good. And you whip through books too, Chris, right?
Yeah, I just like pick them up and just.
Walks around and reads them. It doesn't
Well, funny you
fall-
mention that. I went for a walk this morning reading a book.
I
Did you
think
now?
that's great. I
Yep.
love it.
I'll read a few pages and then kind of look around, read a few more pages. Yeah.
Now I just have to say, where is Jenny?
I couldn't see Mount Hood today, so when I walk down the Springwater Corridor and I can see Mount Hood, I'm like, I tend to watch the mountain until I can't see it anymore, and then I'll start reading because then the trail's kind of boring. But today it's so smoky out that I couldn't see it.
That's what I was wondering.
What's
Oh
that
no,
high
Jenny
heat?
Jenny Lawson's from Texas, not the Midwest. I thought she was Midwestern. Another Texas crazy. Sorry.
All right,
But
I'm not watching it.
is the haze that bad? Is that what you were saying?
It just looks like, you know, when it's super hot and you get that haziness, but it's not
Yeah.
that hot here. So that's just kind of what it looks like.
Yeah.
I haven't even been outside yet.
Fire
The
now.
first couple days we came back when it was super hot here, I could smell it when I stepped outside. I don't know where it was coming from, if it was coming from Idaho or California, or I don't know.
Yeah.
When I was in New York, they were saying that it was coming, that the haze there was coming from here, which I find hard to believe, but
Some of it might have been, but
because it wasn't even that bad here before I left.
when I was at my mom's, there were huge wildfires in northern Ontario. And so any northern wind was bringing it right down to my mom, you know, into
Yeah.
the Michigan. And sometimes you could smell it, but usually it was just that high haze again. So that might have been coming from there,
Yeah, could be.
some of the jet stream.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's not good.
It's not good.
Fire's still growing, fucker.
And,
How's it in the
full of the
sun?
woods.
Yeah, I've just been watching, like looking at the map, and I've been watching the perimeter because it's getting really close to Bagby Hot Springs. And I'm kind of counting the ridges
Oh,
as it's slowly moving west. It's just about, well, I can't get it any closer on my phone. They're trying, from what I've been understanding, they're working the southern part of it because they're trying to keep it from advancing any closer to Brighton Bush, which those people have already had all their shit burned.
Yeah.
Yeah, that maybe that's where it was coming from. I don't know where the wind's coming from today.
well, it's fortunate as it hasn't been very windy here.
Thank God. Yeah, I hope that the cooler conditions are helping.
Yeah, it has to.
Have you looked at how Idaho's doing and where Kate and those guys are?
That's a good question because Emily just texted me. They've returned now from the woods. Let's see where, if it goes that far. I don't see, there's something in the north near Lewiston, and then there's something called the Black Butte Fire, which is just in Oregon, right over the border. Maybe it wasn't bad. I hope not.
Yeah, hopefully. I feel like I've been through the Boise area, I don't know, 4 or 5 times, just driving to other places or visiting Idaho. And I'd say 3 out of 5 times, it's just been one big smoke valley.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know if they burn fields like they do in Willamette, if it's part of that, you know, or if also wildfires. It's like you can't see anything. It's really bad.
Did they have to stop doing that in Lane County? I remember when Kevin was at U of O, they were still burning the grass fields. And then it seems like they told him they couldn't do it anymore.
It kind of makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, Kevin had the worst allergies when he was in Eugene, and he's fine here.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
I don't know if they still do it. It's pretty
Horrible.
obnoxious though when you see it. I mean, I've been near them. It smells really bad because it's a slow burn, and I've seen it in here in Idaho and
Yeah.
Washington.
Wow.
Hmm.
Stop burning shit.
Yeah. Stop fucking
Damn
burning
it.
shit. Yeah.
I mean,
Unless
when
it's in a fire pit.
all that carbon, it's what trees are. Poof. Poor things.
Okay, let's go back to comedians.
Yeah, let's talk about Seaman again.
What else did Emily say? Just that
She said, my packages have arrived. And I was like, uh-oh, well, it's sitting on your patio because I'm not driving to town today. Oh, there she
Oh,
is.
she wanted you to pick
Look
up
at
her.
that. Isn't that a cute picture? I'll be right back.
Oh,
What?
Wait, she just called
She
while
just
we were
dropped us.
sitting here?
What? You can't wait?
her ears must have been burning.
Where's her? Yeah, exactly.
Talking about burning. It's her
Can
ears.
you hear everyone? You can't. Can you FaceTime?
No, I can't FaceTime.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. Tell her you're talking about blowjobs and semen.
Yeah, exactly.
You heard that?
Emily calls. Huh.
You know, that's what we just
Oh,
talked about
God.
on the loving kindness call.
Let's get serious, everybody. Come on.
Oh.
When do you come out again? What are your dates?
September 24th through October 3rd. You're catching, I like always have to look at September 24th is a Friday. And then I think
following Sunday.
that's the week that Craig and Kate are going to be in San Diego. So I'll stay that weekend with my friend Stacy, and then I'll be there the following work week and the weekend of the 2nd and 3rd.
Yay.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. Yes.
I just talked to my stepmother and she's like, how did you get your dad to eat it? She doesn't cook and she doesn't put any food in front of my dad. And she's like, how did you get your dad to eat anything? And I said, I basically didn't ask him if he was hungry. I didn't ask him if he wanted something to eat. And I said, would you like some? It's in front of you right now. And he ate every single morsel.
Wow, that's great.
And she goes, well, yeah, because he talked about how great it was and how good the food was and how great it was to have, maybe you could come back. I was like, well, Laurel just got a ticket for $400.
$200.
200.
Oh my God.
200 round trip.
Which is amazing because
$210 round trip.
we were
To
supposed
the
to go to
point where I
Vegas.
was like, I thought it was Portland, Maine. I just
Yeah.
kept being like,
Right.
am I drunk? What's going on? Like, am I going to wake up in the morning and I bought a ticket to the wrong place? I was like, but why would Alaskan Airlines be
Portland
flying to Maine?
County, Kentucky or something.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, we were supposed to
Vegas,
get
right?
together with Dawn's family for her parents' 60th in Vegas. And her brother started looking at tickets from Detroit to Vegas, and they were $600 round trip,
Wow.
which is crazy. I mean, Vegas, even here, it was like 2.5. I'm like, why is it so expensive to fly to Vegas? Because usually they want you to come.
Right. Yeah.
And those tickets are super cheap, but
You know, that's funny. I just bought our tickets to New Orleans in October, which means that I've committed. Yeah, they were like $650 each.
Woo.
I know.
but it's kind of, I mean, flying out of Portland is kind of a pain quite often. You don't get that great price that Laurel got because you usually have to do a connector. There's usually not directs. And
Yeah.
where are you flying into Louisiana at? It's
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to New Orleans, so we're gonna go through Denver. I mean,
Yeah.
I did a lot of research trying to figure out, and I probably could have gotten a cheaper ticket, but Peter likes to have, you know, the economy plus seats. He likes to have a little bit of extra room, and I wanted to make sure that we spent the least amount of time in airports. Like,
Right.
there's a 3-hour fucking turnover time in Atlanta, and that's not happening. I mean, I want to go from point A to point B and be on the ground for the minimum amount of time.
yeah.
I just, yeah. I'm not excited about being around all those people.
So it's just you and Peter that are going.
Yeah.
in the
Well, the
end?
kids are going, look, Robbie decided not to go, which is fine. He's job hunting and whatever. Emily and Kevin and Dawson are going, but they're flying on Southwest.
Oh, that's
and-
right. Yeah, and they're gonna go on
Yeah.
a shorter schedule than you guys.
Yeah, and they're
Yeah.
staying at, they're staying at this youth hostel, not a youth hostel, it's just a hostel. It's one of those really new upscale boutique hostels that you can stay in.
The bougie hostel.
Exactly. So they decided to stay there because Kevin had been there before and he really liked it. So they'll be down the road. I guess we're kind of going to be scattered around New Orleans, but not too far. I mean, like Central Business District and the French Quarter. So that's
Not
not
too
bad.
shabby. Yeah, exactly.
No. Yeah, it'll just be interesting to see how things start to shape up within the next month and a half, 2
Mhm.
months,
Mhm.
you know.
What date are
happens.
you going?
We leave
October?
on October the 8th
Yeah,
and come back on the 14th.
right.
So I did find out that they've canceled the jazz festival, which I'm really grateful for. So that means there will be considerably less people in town for that.
That would have been crazy if they still did the jazz festival.
I know, it's just not worth
Yeah,
it.
that, I mean, that's the big jazz festival was supposed to be that weekend.
Yeah. And they had already rescheduled it to, I mean,
Mhm.
I think this will be the third rescheduling.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but
Yeah.
you know, it's not safe. The good thing about it is that my brother is friends with the governor of the great state of Louisiana. So if anything is going to happen ahead of time, I might know about it.
Is that still the dingbat? What's his name?
No,
Okay.
no, this guy, John Bell Edwards, is he's your typical kind of Southern Democrat, conservative, but Doug went to West Point with him. They graduated in the same class together. So they've known each other for a long time. And I mean, John's pretty strict about all this shit. He's taken it seriously. Yeah, they want everybody to get vaccinated. It's just all the dumbass holdouts that, sorry, Chris.
Why do you think I'm still unvaccinated?
It's those people in the South that are scaring me, because there are so many of them, and I'm afraid of Delta for Peter.
Yeah. Yeah, of
Mhm.
course you are.
So
Are you gonna get rapid tests or do you think that doesn't really?
we're considering it, yeah.
Yeah.
And Peter's gonna be eligible for his booster shot before we go.
Okay,
So
that's good.
That's really good, because he did say to me, and it scared me when I was buying the plane tickets. He said, what happens if I have to go to the hospital for something? You know, if it's not related to COVID, what happens if
Mhm.
something?
Mhm.
And I just didn't know how to answer that.
Yeah,
Oregon hospitals are full.
The
Yeah.
hospitals are full.
yeah.
Yeah.
You mean if he has to go hospital here or in Louisiana?
In Louisiana, if something
Yeah.
happens in Louisiana.
Right,
when
because
we're
he
shut-
also doesn't have a practitioner there. I mean, it would be,
No, I mean, it would be a
Makes
trip
it-
to the emergency room. That's based, when he go to the hospital for anything, like for the past 2 years, it's been a 3 years trip to the ER.
mhm.
And thank God it hasn't happened in a while, but
Yeah,
you never.
yeah.
Yeah, you don't know.
So I don't know. That gets me, I'm actually now, I think my blood pressure just went
I'm sorry.
up.
I was just looking at the at-home, testing kits that you can get at CVS now, because I'll be in the Berkshires with a kid who's, below the age of being vaccinated. And since we're coming up
Yeah.
on a train, I was like, well, maybe we should, I don't know, you can't get tested for a couple of days, but maybe we should just for our own peace of mind. And
Yeah.
So what, I mean, if you're vaccinated, you're getting tested for what reason then?
because people who are vaccinated are getting Delta and spreading
Correct.
it. Yeah.
Right.
So,
What do
and-
they,
yeah, so it would
what
just be for that reason, because I think you if you're vaccinated
Yeah.
and were infected, you'd likely be asymptomatic.
Or have mild, yeah, you're just not going to put off as much viral load.
Right.
what's happening in Las Vegas? Do they have specific rules that are set up in the state of Nevada, or?
No,
Do you know?
Yeah, I don't know if we're going. I don't know if we're going now. We're definitely not going that weekend. I mean, her brother's like, I'm not paying $600 a ticket, so I don't know what we're
Yeah.
doing.
Mm,
And the
Go ahead.
parents are vaccinated, right? The
Mhm.
older That's, thank God.
And
Okay.
and Airbnb. I mean, I did get vaccinated before I went back to Michigan because I didn't
Did
want to,
you?
you know,
That's
I did.
sweet.
I just felt more comfortable. There's many reasons why I did it for personal reasons, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was more
I'm glad
comfortable.
to
for
hear
me.
that. I didn't know that. Yeah, honestly, there are not a whole lot of things that really make me cry these days, but this kind of shit does. It's, you know, I think about our parents and our people with cancer and yeah.
I think
Sorry.
he gets his booster shot. I think flying, when I flew without, I was more nervous than when I had it
Mhm.
because, you know, my
Yeah.
parents, all her parents and my mom were vaccinated. So it was like a double positive. I know that we could still share it and there's still going to be compromise, but I didn't feel bad flying at all. I know
Mhm.
Dawn didn't either way, but some of us think about it a little more and try
Yeah.
not to worry about it.
Yeah. Did you buy a specific mask for flying or did you just use a regular everyday mask?
I wore two.
Yeah,
Did
so
you?
when I was unvaccinated, going back this past spring to see my mom, and she had been vaccinated, I double masked.
Okay.
And this time I did not double mask because, well, one, it wasn't bad here in Portland when we left, and where we were going in Michigan, I mean, it went through that county in the springtime, so there was nothing going on when we went back there. Where last spring in March and April was really bad,
Mhm.
That's good.
kind of like it's bad here now. So
Yeah.
I would just double mask. I mean, Peter, it's going to be uncomfortable, but you know,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I was
did a N95 with a cloth mask over it. That's what
Yeah.
I did. Yeah.
That's
you
what I was
have-
wondering if I shouldn't invest in some of the N95 masks just to travel with.
And you have to know that the airplanes, I mean, Dawn did a lot of research on this. The air is every 6 minutes brand new,
Wow.
and it's
Yeah, you're not
recirculated
going to get it in the airplane, or it's a lot less likely you're going to
unless the person sitting like right next to
Right,
you or
yeah.
right the row behind you is sneezing on you. You're unlikely to get it there.
Yeah,
It's-
I didn't feel as uncomfortable on the plane as in the airport.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
went through Chicago and Denver. I can't remember.
God, the lines must be
remember.
insanely long if people are social distancing.
They are. They're
So-
not. You don't distance on the lines. You're standing right next to
Yeah,
each other.
you're standing right next to
And there
people.
were so many that didn't have masks on. I also asked for wheelchair assistance, and in almost every, I mean, we had a changeover on on all three legs, and almost all of the people who came to help me, one of the women was like, "Oh yeah, sorry, I dropped my mask on the floor and I just didn't get to go pick one up."
Ugh.
And I'm like, "Here you go."
That sounds like that's a really lame excuse.
But that was
Yeah,
in-
that's funny,
that was
Mary,
in
because I
DC.
didn't, when I was
That was
traveling out
in-
to Portland, I saw 0 people without a mask in the airport. I mean, they were, I don't, it wasn't, people
It
weren't
depends.
patrolling, but I didn't see people without a mask at all.
Depends where you fly, what city you fly through too. Like
Yeah.
we flew through Denver, definitely saw people. I think not a lot, but you did see people with wearing around their chin.
So I get to look forward to that since I'm going
But
through
it's
that.
so, I do this anyways when we fly because I don't like being around crowds unless I'm listening to music. You just find an empty spot, like, so you don't sit at the gate. You go, okay, there's
Yeah,
the gate.
yeah,
And
that's
go,
what I did as well.
I mean,
Once
when
you
I,
get through security and stuff, you can socially distance, right?
yeah, and Portland's really easy to do it in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
I don't know what Atlanta's like. It'd probably be crazy. Seattle was a nightmare when we came back through. It was just
Really?
packed it. Well, because Alaska was consolidating their flights. So there's like hundreds of people trying to get on 3 planes and they're all standing right next to each other. We just walked away and just went and sat somewhere else.
Yeah.
So that's why you just like, okay, it's still on time and just go find somewhere a little bit more quieter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that is the great.
Yeah, I think you
the great
just kind of
dilemma.
envision everything that you might do that's going to make you feel uncomfortable and think about, well, how could I be more comfortable in that space? Like it's,
Yeah. Honestly, I think the only thing that would be really different about, the way that I experience travel would just be wearing a mask all the time.
Mhm.
Because I do those things too. I don't like being around all those people. It makes me, I'm not a good flyer anyway.
Mhm.
So I'll do it. Because
And I just, when they gave food or drinks, I just let mine sit there for like 10 minutes
Mhm.
till everybody else was done. You know,
Yeah, and then took your
I-
mask off to take a
and then
drink.
I-
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know what it's reducing, but just to make yourself feel a little better.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Take a pool stick with you. It's 5 feet long and you just walk in the airport. Well, actually, you get a cane, pretend like you're blind, and you just go like this. Stay back.
I had
Stay
my
back.
two walking sticks and it was amazing.
You're within my distance.
That's good. I like that. I do. I like the idea of carrying a cane with me anyway.
There you go.
Of course you do, Dana.
And when the fight breaks out on the plane, as they seem to be
By the
happening
way-
all the time now, you can use it as a weapon.
Oh my God, that's fabulous.
I have the hiking poles that get longer and shorter,
Yep.
so, you know, whatever you need.
There you go. You can adjust your distance, whether it's 3 feet or 5
Exactly.
feet.
Yeah.
3 feet for
That's
family, 5 feet for
Because-
strangers.
Play into my obsession with those little grabby things.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
God, I used to have one of those when the kids were little. I don't know what happened to it, but I miss it.
That is one of the few toys that I have saved from my kids. Like I'm looking
Okay.
under, know exactly where it is, that
Oh,
grab.
I know what you're talking about. When you would pick things up behind the
Yeah,
the couch. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they're really great for canoeing too, because we used to pick up garbage with it when the kids were little.
Okay, well, let's get going, huh?
On that note,
Yes, on that
Right.
note. I swear they moved the record button on this.